We got Daryl Ruiter joining us right now, and of course, Daryl Reports are powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Daryl, good morning. How you feel?
Hello, boys.
So you staying warm, Daryl?
I am, but I think for my show tomorrow, I too am going to wear a stocking cap in tribute to the both of you. But mine is going to have one of those fluffy balls on it. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
I got one of those.
I'm going to go to the extreme, but as a tribute to you two knuckleheads, I'm going to wear one tomorrow on my show.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Make sure y'all tune in to Daryl tomorrow morning. So listen, man, what's the word on the street? I heard that you got some info kind of disputing reports that we heard yesterday that the Browns are making people write essays and take personality tests. What have you heard in these streets?
Yeah, I think the essay thing's been a little overblown. Are they asking for details on schematics, philosophy, offensively, defensively, special teams? Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's just part of the process. The personality test thing, I mean, look, I kind of feel like that makes some sense. You're going to have to navigate all kinds of things as a head coach, and, organizationally, you want to know how, or at least be able to glean some type of an idea of, how you deal with it. You're going to have to deal with stuff that matters, and you're going to have to deal with stuff that, quite frankly, doesn't matter, right? I mean, listen, these are the Browns. The silliness is nonstop. And so that just comes with being the head coach, not just here, but these other teams. So I just kind of feel like some of the stuff that came out yesterday got overblown a little bit, and right now everyone's dunking on the Browns just because of some of the events that took place this week, as far as Mike McDaniel saying thanks but no thanks to an interview with the Browns, and then obviously Jesse Minter pulling out of his interview. Yes, they are asking for detailed work on philosophy and things like that. I don't know that I would call those essays and homework or what. I kind of would call that prep for your interview.
Daryl, bigger picture with how this search has gone. Like I think to your point, it's easy because of the reputation the Browns have established over the years to just be like, well, they're screwing this thing up and they don't know what they're doing and they stink and they're idiots, right?
The Browns are being the Browns.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know, man. Like people are looking at this thing and saying, well, candidates are canceling and it's going into this third week now and they haven't fulfilled the Rooney Rule, and they're like, clearly this is just the Browns being the Browns. Do you see it that way? I think a lot of that is kind of disingenuous, and it's just kind of the low-hanging fruit thing to do with this team. Right. But how do you feel this process has kind of played out to this point?
They want to talk to Nate Scheelhaase.
Yeah.
So no matter what, this coaching search was going into next week. And frankly, looking at some of the candidates that they've talked to, it'd be organizational malpractice for them not to hold off and wait to talk to Nate Scheelhaase. And look, you could argue that, maybe there's some other folks that are participating here on championship weekend. Let's look at the Jesse Minter situation, okay? Because I think that's what really kind of got the snowball rolling on a lot of the criticism out there and whatnot. And look, here's what happened, okay? Wednesday night, he's in Baltimore, or wherever he's at, meeting with the Ravens, right? And the Ravens offered him a job. And he basically said to the Browns, hey, I still want to interview for the job. I'm still interested. However, I have an offer. And, if you're not prepared to offer, following our interview, then I feel like I need to pursue this offer that I have on the table. And the Browns said, hey, listen, we do have a process we're going through. We have a list of candidates that we absolutely want to speak with before making our decision. And Jesse Minter said, well, respectfully, I'm going to take this offer. And the Browns understood. And so the Browns come off looking like the bad guy here, or the incompetent group of buffoons, when this is just standard business in the National Football League. Like, there nothing nefarious happened in that particular situation. The Browns didn't bumble anything. And, Jesse Minter had an offer to go be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. And, he didn't want to wait for the Browns to make their decision. because obviously that would affect what he may or may not be able to do in Baltimore, or even might affect the offer that he received from the Ravens, right? I mean, because as you know, in a lot of employment situations, it tends to be, hey, you take it or leave it. Hey, we need an answer right now, things like that. So the Jesse Minter situation was completely understandable. And circling back to Mike McDaniel, Deanna Rossini reported this morning, he didn't even bother meeting with the Bills after agreeing to do an interview with them.
Yeah.
So like, I think that, prisoner of the moment, when this stuff happens, we all lose our collective minds. And sometimes we just need to take a deep breath and, relax for a moment.
Daryl, you put out a tweet I think it was last night. You said if Andrew Berry just had 2 names on this list to fulfill the rule, which it looks like, and why they are resetting, that's just a terrible planning on his part. Should have knocked out an interview this week, lost the wasted time this week, and time is money. I guess I'm pretty sure you've seen there's been mixed opinions on the approach to the Rooney Rule and, how people should go about it. And Andrew Berry, as a black general manager, doesn't just strike me as a guy that's going to bring in another black guy in a sham interview that he know in his heart he doesn't 100%. Have any desire to hire. Do you feel like the Cleveland Browns is an organization that will ultimately just rather pay the fine versus put somebody in a position like that?
Well, first things first, I talked to a couple sources last night who told me they are going to fulfill the Rooney Rule, okay? Mm-hmm. And it is not going to be we're just checking a box. And Earl, what you said is 100% correct. And I'm going to leave out the fact that Andrew Berry is a black man in this scenario. The Browns have always treated diversity as a priority for them organizationally. And in fact, I think I can make a case maybe they deserve a little dispensation here from the Rooney Rule because they, historically have been at the forefront of diversity in the National Football League. But the rule is the rule. The Miami Dolphins made a mockery of the Rooney Rule. They brought in 2 candidates, interviewed them, bang, bang, and then 2 hours later hired Jeff Hafley, right? Look at what the Atlanta Falcons did with Matt Ryan, and I think he's team president or something like that, whatever his title is down there, right? It was reported like in week 17 with 2 weeks to go in the season, the Falcons are going to probably hire Matt Ryan to be their, chief football dude, right? And then they go through this process of, we're interviewing candidates, and then I know you're shocked, I'm shocked, everybody's shocked. Lo and behold, guess who they hired for that job? It was Matt Ryan, right? So, and it's been made clear for me over the last week and a half that I've been asking about this situation. Because it is. Like, the Giants, they knocked out their minority candidate interviews early, and that opened the door for them just to go ahead and full steam ahead with John Harbaugh, right? They didn't have to say, hang on, John, we got to check this box. Let's talk. We got league paperwork we got to handle and things like that, which unfortunately there are teams in the NFL that do that. The Browns are not one of those teams. So I respect the organization. I respect Andrew Berry for making sure that they are not only following the rule, but they're going by the spirit of the rule, and that is to give candidates who otherwise would not be able to get in front of an ownership group legitimate consideration and opportunity for the job. So whoever we end up finding out is this mystery candidate outside of Nate Scheelhaase, it is not going to be a token interview. This person will be a legitimate candidate for the job. And while it doesn't fit my personal timeline, I would have preferred they had this knocked out this week. But they're going to get it done. And, at some point, I'm sure we'll find out who that candidate is. And then there's always the possibility, hey, maybe they talk to somebody at the college ranks and they're keeping it super duper confidential, the agent, the coach, and the Browns, because, you don't want to mess with NIL and the transfer portal and all those type of things in the event that the Browns don't choose that college coach to be. And I'm not saying that's what happened, but let's at least, have a little perspective on this thing too before we all lose our, collective minds. Now, if we get into, let's say Tuesday of next week, right, and they have not satisfied the rule, then I'm really going to get upset because they need to hire a head coach unless it is Nate Scheelhaase and Nate Scheelhaase wins this weekend and then the Browns have to wait until after the Super Bowl to hire him. That becomes a different conversation, but hopefully the Browns are able to hire their next head coach middle of next week.
Daryl, pivoting away from the Browns momentarily, final sort of minute here before we go to break.
Yeah,
we got the news this morning about Jose Ramirez signing the contract extension. What is your reaction, and will the Guardians finally reinvest that money that they're deferring from his contract into the team to help him win a World Series before it's all said and done?
Yeah, I saw the news from Hector Gomez, and I double-checked it, and then I saw John Heyman post it too, and then Zach Meisel posted it, and I was like, okay, this is real. This is happening. First off, God bless Jose. In an era where, and I'm not pocket watching, I'm going to talk about this on my show tomorrow, but I'm all for players getting every dollar they're owed. But in an era where players get every dollar that they're owed, for him to understand that the Guardians have the financial constraints that they do, and his willingness to take over 50% less of his free agent market value to stay here in Cleveland and be a Cleveland Guardian for life is something special. And I hope that fans, and I know fans do, but that is rare. I actually made the comment on X this morning. Imagine if Jim Thome and Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez back in the 90s, imagine if those guys did what Jose Ramirez has done, right? And what those teams might have been able to accomplish if they could have kept those teams together with those superstar players who went for the big money in free agency. So it's special, it's unique, and Jose has repeatedly said how much he loves Cleveland, how much he's not driven by the almighty dollar, and his life is forever. He already has life-changing money, so what's an extra $10 million to him per year and whatnot? There are basically no athletes in pro sports right now that have that mentality. So, God bless him, and we really are lucky to have him here, and hopefully he's able to continue to play the way he has, through the remainder of his career here in Cleveland.
Daryl, man, we appreciate you for your time, man. Thank you. Stay warm and have a great show tomorrow.
Thanks, Daryl.
You too, guys. I'm serious about that stocking cap. Again, have a nice big fluffy ball right on the crown.
I'm going to retweet the video.
All right, I'm gonna be looking for the video.
All right, and just so you know, it's a mockery of you. It's a tribute to you, and it's all done in love.
Oh no, man, you already know it's all love all the time, man. Even when we disagree.
You guys have a good one.
Thanks,
right,
Daryl.
You too.